Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Bert's Paradise. Hope you all are doing fantastic. I've been having a good time playing around in creative, making more vehicles, and making some progress. It's been a little while. I mentioned that I was on holiday, had a nice, fantastic holiday there, and now we're back. So, if you watched my recent short, you'll know that I built a train, more specifically, a locomotive. And so today, I want to build that in survival, go over it in a little bit more detail. I kind of did a quick short of it. And so we've kind of done a bit of work here off camera as I trip over these ledges. And if we come over here, you can see that I've built some train tracks. Now, this is going to be the design that I use for our train tracks. Just using some stairs, some wood, and some gravel. And this is going to go way off into the sunset over there. But I want to build this train in conjunction with what's over there as part of the larger ecosystem. So let's hop into spectator mode real quick and take a look. And I'm going to talk through all of this. So if you were to be in an industrial area, you'd have a couple things. You'd have a boat right here, and it would probably have some shipping containers. And those shipping containers would need to be moved elsewhere. And then that's where things get distributed. So we started by building the crane, and that crane's going to be, loading on these containers from the ship, which we will build in a later episode. And, trucks are one way to get things from place to place, but there's also trains. And I'm a huge fan of trains. So I wanted to build a network of trains because otherwise, this truck makes sense to go to the agriculture district, but what happens when we have a big city? We want more supplies to go to it so that there's more context. So I've expanded out here this little area. You can see the grass is still growing. And this little platform is going to be where we have the container, almost like a shipyard. I did not want to touch this nice, pristine national park, but I wanted to get as close to it as we could. I like this formation of this lake, and so this is about as far forward as I wanted to go with it. And otherwise, I would build all the way up next to the crane, and it would make a little bit more sense, but I think having it here is just fine. And then we can figure out what we want to do in this middle portion here. So I'm going to have the train pull up alongside here. And you could see I've started to outline this. This is going to expand way back that way. But what we're going to build today is this entire mechanism. We're not going to finish it, but we're going to get the outline going. You could see these squares of 4 blocks each at the bottom. Those represent where I'm going to place the shipping containers. And then I'm using anvils, a very expensive use of anvils, to create 2 sets of rails, one on either side. That's why you saw me earlier, or potentially later, depending on where I throw the little time lapse in, fixing the iron farm. So this is going to be where we put what's called a gantry crane. And those are what are used to load onto like rail and even trucks sometimes. I've got a lot of reference pictures, but I found one that I liked, and it's going to sit on these rails. And what it's going to do is it's going to move back and forth, loading and unloading the train on the right side. On the left here is where the trucks are going to pass and where they're going to go. So it's going to serve as kind of like the holding point for all of these. And we're going to kind of build a way for things to kind of go from one place to the other. So this will be like where the mass storage is. And then, as I'm talking about it, I kind of envision this rail maybe coming in like this with other rails and then pulling up here where we can load on as well, but not store everything. So there's a couple ways that we could do this, but this is kind of what I've decided. So if we hop back to over here, all the way over here, where we have all of our supplies, I've got everything we need to build the train. So all the blocks that I mentioned in the short that I did are in here, plus a few others. So we're going to build that. And then in the middle, to make this thing look official, we're then going to move on, and we're going to use the same block palette with these mangrove roots and the mangrove wood to kind of build a dock. Like, this is definitely going to be raised above these lands. I don't know if I'm going to fill this in or leave it natural. So I want to have like maybe a lip here because we got to fill in some of this stuff. And then finally, over here, these are the bits I'm going to need for the gantry crane. Now, I don't think I have near enough orange terracotta, but we're going to have enough that I can at least build one side of this that stretches all the way across so we can start to get the feel. So I'm going to do that, and it's going to sit on these grindstones. And just for a little bit of display purposes here real quick. So it's going to sit something like this. Now, I may move this a little later, but if we come down here, and of course, did any of those? They did. Okay, cool. What you could do is you could put these grindstones here, and that will act as like the wheels on the rail, and I think that looks really cool. And so that's going to be the mechanism that moves this thing back and forth so that it can load and unload things. So this is going to have 4 legs, one here, one there, one there, and one there. And then that's going to kind of complete what I want to get done this episode. So without any further ado, let's build the train. And let's get this going. So if you missed the short that I did, we outlined how to make a nice locomotive. And I think this should be enough if I put it here, or I might want to go one more back just to be safe. Yeah, let's go one more back to be safe. So this will be like the more in-depth, not necessarily tutorial, but kind of like a walkthrough, because I really sped run through the short to make sure it was, a short. So we are going to use concrete powder for the wheels and polished tough walls. I called them fences, but they're actually walls, for the wheel components. And so this is gonna be right here, and then we're gonna build the back half. And I like the look of this. It's a little dark and kind of like, the oil gets in there and you wanted a darker texture. You could use what I used over there with the grindstone as wheels, but since I'm using them for the gantry crane, I wanted to differentiate it. So then we need to come back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Let's hope that I do this correct and not have to redo everything off camera. And this should be everything that we need for the wheels. Great. So we've got a nice length here, and I wanted it in a good proportion. So each one of the cars that's going to be pulled by this locomotive is going to have 2 shipping containers on it. I thought the proportions would be good for that. And then this guy is going to come extend out 1 or 2 blocks. I can't remember how much I extended it over the rail. So it'll look kind of cool. All right. So this is where the fun begins. So we have a bunch of stairs, and then all of these, and then we also want some of those. Okay. Oh, and our pistons. Can't forget those. So it's gonna come out. I think 1 extra block. I've got to double check. I've got my reference photo up, but let me get a quick update here and pull up multiple photos so that I actually get this right. All right, so I think I'm prepared here. So this is gonna be the front half, and this is gonna be the back half. And so the back half is going to come out like this, and then we're gonna start with this and build it forward. And we want it 1 behind the axle here. This is going to represent the fuel tank. So in the diesel electric motors, these like little side pod is what I'll call them. Sorry, train enthusiasts. I'm not too up with the lingo. But those are where the fuel is stored. So then we are going to come here, and then you place these stairs upside down like this. And then, let's see, we go one more past here, and then you want this one facing regular. So this will be like the back part where a conductor can get on and off. And then we do one of these, and then this is where we'll turn it around. So that should be good. Now this back portion is going to be a little interesting because we are going to want to add on the coupling device is going to be separate from the actual back, and same with the front and the cow plow, which technical term and very fun name. Okay, so nope, that didn't work. So I've got to make sure that I actually have something that can help. For once. Okay, so that's going to be the back. It's going to come all the way around this side. And then this is going to be all the way up here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think. And then we do the same thing on the front. Let me just double check here in my reference photos. Yep. So this is going to be right here. And then we're going to do the same thing in the front. So this guy is going to come across. And this will complete the chassis. Okay. And then on the front here, this is where we're going to have like the little cow plow and coupling devices. So this is here, and then we want like this. So this is like a little mini cow plow. Perfect. And I'm actually glad that I scooted that back because I think this gives enough space here. So we want this like little gap because it's almost like this can be like a separate device, and that's the similar thing that we're going to do here on the back. Except I believe I did this. Well, not exactly that. What we're going to want to do is build the same fuel tanks on this side, and then we'll fill in the middle with all of the rest. So this is a 4x26 area. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Hey, look at that. I did math on camera once, and it was correct. We can all be happy with that. So we're going to fill this in. And then I need to do the rest of the fuel tank on the side. Okay. Did I miscount? Or did I just not grab everything? Okay. Looks like I somehow miscounted. Because it would not be a build without me underestimating how much I need here. Okay. Well, we are going to place these. Oops. So I thought I had that there. I'm going to need to go get more tough. Excuse my poor math skills. Or don't excuse them and just make fun of me. But I thought I actually did plan this out. I just miscounted that because you can see I've got the concrete that we need here next. Let's check here. This is where all my extras. Well, this one. Super prepared. Okay. Well, looks like I did not prepare quite as well as possible. Okay, let me go grab this tuff so that we can finish up this build, and I will be right back. Editor Bert here. We ran into a bit of a disaster. Luckily only for this clip, though. Unfortunately, my microphone audio was not captured properly, so you're stuck with me giving a good voiceover. So here we're just kind of building out the frame of the train. If you want a little bit more detail, you can check out the short that I put out about this. This part's pretty easy. Luckily, we have all the blocks we need for this, and the audio is going to cut back in soon. So I'll take this time to say if you are enjoying the series, please give it a like and consider subscribing. We've got lots more content coming, including more trains, more trucks, more cranes, and eventually more planes. So looking forward to it. And right here, we're just kind of finishing up the front half with the cockpit. So we will cut back in now, and Editor Bert will catch you later. Alright, with the reference photos in hand, the night slept away. This thing is really starting to come together. I'm super stoked. I really like this design. And then it's going to be really cool to build the gantry crane, kind of getting ready to load her up. So let's come in here. I'm going to have to remember to light this up so no mobs spawn. So we want to come out 4 blocks. And then we're going to have a 5-block gap because that's where the engine unit is going to be. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we can start here. So we've got this. And then there's actually going to be the stairs are going to be in the middle of this for the horn unit. And then we have the stairs, which then are going to be into, so this into here. Okay. And then I guess 1, 2. Trying to think if I got this placement correct for the horn or if I want to do something a little different. I think let's try this. Let's try right here. Okay. And then, so this is like the little horn. This is about the best that I could do. I tried playing around with some lightning rods and other things, but just didn't quite do it. I'll flash a picture up now, but that's what a horn is supposed to look like on the back of this anyway. So if we kind of zoom out, that's kind of where that is. And they typically are mounted there and then on the front or on the side. So I thought that did a decent job. So yeah, there is that. So now we need to cover the rest of this guy. So we need a couple full blocks, and then we need to start just doing one of these. So the rest of the full blocks are smelting up. But this should do. Now, there's going to be a few full blocks, and then there's going to be, am I missing one stair? I am literally missing one stair. I am the best. Anyway, so there's going to be full block here, and then I want to make sure that, like, we can stand in this thing. So there's going to be full block here, and then a stair there, because this is gonna, there's gonna be like a nice chair and console here, and the chair is gonna sit at this height. It has to, otherwise you can't see out there. But if it's there and there's a full block there, you can't really sit in it. So I put this upper slab here. That way you can, yeah, do that. So now let's build the engine real quick. And then we'll hop over to get the rest of this whatchamacallit, the quartz. I can't speak. Okay, we want this, we want this, and we want that. And then, sure, let's take some mud. Why not? Okay, so for this one's kind of fun. Let me use this. So in the middle, and I didn't grab my rails. Darn. We want to do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We want to do this, and then we gotta do this on both sides. And then we want to do this. I'm actually surprised that that worked as smooth as it did. Okay, and then we just want to do great. So now we can go grab the rest of the quartz that is smelting up. So these two can be covered by this. And then I need one stair there, and the rest can be, oh, I didn't bring the stone cutter. Go me. The rest can be the slabs. Can I get in that way? Nope. I've got to wait. Can I put this on top? Nope. We'll put that over there. Actually, no, we will put this inside. That way baddies do not spawn. Great. Genius. So we got that. Very technical terms here. A lot of that. Boop. Okay, so now then, that is not the right block. I need that. This is going to come across. Great. Now, we just need to place this final one. And this should be, oops, the good outline that we need. Okay, let's take a look. Fantastic. So we've still got to add the details to it, but I'm super pleased with how this turned out in survival. So a lot of resources that we had to gather here, but I think it looks really good. So typically, these are going to have doors right here, and then on the front, from what I've seen. Now, I'm debating what I want to do because I really don't like the look of the doors here. There's not much that fits in with any color scheme that I looked. I tried iron doors, but it just doesn't look the way I want it to. So I'm going to have to try and figure something out. What I might do is I might use the magic of paintings and create a custom painting that will go here that you can walk through to get in. We'll see about that. And then I can use maps to make the doors. So I really want to use the transparent maps. So that's kind of what we're going to focus on probably next episode with all of that. And that way I can create a color scheme on the outside. I want to create the numbers for the train on top, because they usually have the numbers on either side. And then we can kind of make the outlines of those. And I'm really going to rely on these to kind of bring this together. I know there's a bunch you could do. Like there is like mob heads that you can use, which I think is really cool. There's mini blocks. But kind of like going back to the root of this, I want this to be, sort of more or less vanilla. And even though you're kind of cheesing the system with some invisible item frames and maps, technically speaking, the invisible item frame is part of the game. Yes, you need to enable commands to do it, but it is part of that game mechanic versus like, the alternate blocks that you can use for here, even though I do have those enabled. Because I could just create different skins, get my head to drop, and then put it on here. And I may do that in the future. We'll see. But I think the maps are going to give the detail without, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, but without destroying the Minecraft feel, right? Because there's some really cool stuff. I got a really nice comment on the short saying, hey, now put it in create and it can actually drive. And I do love create mod. But I like that in more of a modded setting, and I don't think it would look in place with a lot of the vanilla stuff that I had here. So I think that's a good compromise if we use the maps. So we're going to go ahead and get to going with those. But for now, let me put a lot of this stuff away, and we can start to work on a few other things. I'll get to the iron bars and a little bit more of the details soon, but I want to start getting this gantry crane going and getting some of these here, because it's really going to start to take shape. So yeah, I'm going to finish the details in a bit, but I'm going to hop over and do this gantry crane first, because I want to see how it looks next to here and see if we need to modify anything, because we're getting a little bit close. In my creative world, I built this in an open space, and if we do use the iron bars like I want to, they are going to come out a bit. So I want to just make sure that they're not going to interfere with that crane, because the crane's technically speaking going to be moving up and down this line. So more to come. Let me grab the rest of my orange terracotta and we'll start building this crane. We've got some good progress here. Take a look at this monster of a gantry crane. So, hope you enjoyed that little time lapse there. Wanted to break things up a little bit. Not that I was getting bored of building this train, just wanted to get this here so we could appreciate the scale of everything. And you can see back there, render distance is slightly turned up so we can see just the outline of our crane. But what we're going to do is we're going to start to add the details to this guy here. And we're going to add those in the form of some iron bars. So I got to actually get rid of these because they're in the way. And then I believe, yep, I have one lantern here and I have one in the inside so nothing spawns. But around the outside, we are going to have all of the decorative iron bars. And they're going to come out at least here. So in order to get on, I have to be at least one away. Alright, and something that I forgot to mention is you actually need 4 of these here. Because there's like a little taper that comes up before you can get into the train right here. And I'm going to come around the other side and do the same thing before I forget. Perfect. So the way that we have these bars is going to start here, and we're going to come all the way around. Is it already getting nighttime? I swear, time passes faster when you are recording here. So we're starting to get these rails, like these guardrails in. Let me come sleep. Okay, now that we've slept the night away, we need things to come down here, and it's gonna come not there. I cannot see. It's a little hard to see with no texture for me. So this is actually gonna come out this way. And I want a little bit of overlap here so that it's not too thin when it transitions down. And this is going to come down to right here. This music is kind of glorious. All right. We want it like this. That way, this is going to be like the ladder getting onto the train. And we cannot have any interference with the coupling device because that would not be realistic. So we're going to do this and this. And it's going to leave some space here to couple. And then I think... Did I do it? I think I did it this way. Yeah. So it's like got some clearance, and then we will do this just like that. Boom. You're not going to be able to walk through, but I think it looks better this way than a little bit blockier. And then it just needs to mirror on this side. So too wide here, which will be here and here. Wow, that actually fits. I wasn't sure with this block here. And then we need one just like that. And then that kind of completes our train. Okay, let's hop into spectator mode. Look at this. Super proud of this design. This is my own design, so I'm pretty proud of this because I'm not usually this type of builder. I don't usually get this detailed or realistic. I don't think it's perfect. I think there's probably some people that could do it better, but I really like what I've put together here. I might do a few tweaks, but we've got some nice detail, and I think the iron bars really help it. I was trying my best to use iron trap doors, but they patched the bug where you could leave them facing up even without redstone, and it was just way too hard to design something this small without like a block powering on the inside. So I think the iron bars really do the trick. We've got a nice on and off point for the engineer and conductor, and then nice coupling device. So really, I think that's going to be like a good template because we're going to have a couple of these. And what I want to do now is do a lot of work off camera. So let's just kind of like ground ourselves, no pun intended, and just chat. So with this in the background. So we've got this train and we've got this giant gantry crane. And before I can make too much more progress on camera, there's a lot I got to do off camera. Mainly gathering blocks like gravel and sand, which is boring to watch. And also, I need to fill 10 shulker boxes worth of glass. Why? Because we need to make a transparent background map. So, I'm going to leave it here with this train done, or we'll call it done in air quotes, and this gantry crane in the beginning. I'm going to do some work off camera, get some glass, and the next time you see me, we'll be in the end, creating a transparent map background that we can make a lovely design for our train to add a lot of detail. I think it's going to be really cool, so stay tuned. Really excited for that. Thank you for all the support. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.